snack has played a huge part in my training camp. The protein, the ZMA, everything, the pre-workout, it's played such a major part in my training camp, keeping me healthy, keeping me recovered, keeping me feeling good, strong, and ready for my next workout.
No, the press conference is on Wednesday. We sparred the next day on Thursday. We sparred on that Saturday. I mean, there hasn't been any issues at all. Like I said, just to scratch, I have my sunglasses on. Whose ever bright idea was to have it outside and with the sun right in our face, appreciate that. But so I wanted to keep my glasses on for the thing, but then they just kind of pushed up and, made a scratch. So.
Caleb, Canelo told us that this fight is personal for him.
Okay.
What about you? Do you feel it like personal?
Yeah, it's personal. All fights are personal for me. This is not just a job. Boxing is my whole life. My dad's a boxing coach. My stepmom, that's all she does is boxing. My wife is a boxing reporter. One of my closest friends and my head coach, Justin. I mean, that's all we think about. That's all we do is boxing. So anybody trying to get in the way of what I'm trying to accomplish and, be remembered as once I'm no longer here, anybody trying to disrupt that, that's personal for me because this is really important to me. And I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this sport. So it's personal. But after the press conference, it made it more personal.
That personal level, it's like, do you feel pressure about it? Because it's like a personal for you?
No more than any other fight, because like I said, all fights are personal for me. So,
Caleb, how many times did VADA come to test you during this camp?
Quite a few times. I mean, I don't have the exact number, but I feel like we're in a good spot.
And do they alert you when he's being tested or no? Or any of your opponents when you're doing VADA testing?
I don't really know too much about what they got going on. All I can say is that, I feel like we're in a good spot as far as testing goes.
You're satisfied with the whole process pretty much?
I feel like we're in a good spot with testing.
Give us a sense of kind of the intensity of your training camp for this fight and maybe who you got for sparring and what the sparring was like for it.
Really, the intensity wasn't any different than any other camp. I'm not going to train harder for this fighter and train less for this fighter. And I said this a handful of times, so, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but you don't become a world champion by training like a world champion after you win a belt. If you want to become a world champion, long before that, you got to walk like one, talk like one, train like one, carry yourself like one. And that means training as hard as you can for every fight. Whether it's your pro debut, whether it's a world title, whether it's undisputed, I don't train any different for any other fight. And I feel like that's one reason that I'm in this position is because I take my job really serious. I don't cut corners. I'm disciplined. And so.
Is it hard to get in fight sparring partners to replicate is he a hard opponent to prepare for?
No, not really. I mean, I feel like I would be the harder person to find sparring for with, the things that I'm able to do. So, no.
Do you think we've seen the best of Canelo?
I have no idea.
And the reason why I ask that is because we may not have seen the best of you.
No, you haven't. I can't answer questions about Canelo because I don't know jack shit about him. So as far as Canelo goes, I'm not going to know the answer. But as far as me, you haven't seen the best Caleb Plant. I mean, you've seen some good performances out of me, but you've yet to see the best of me. And so that's why I'm excited about this fight because, like I said before, all great fighters have been in this position where they have someone, they're the underdog, they're expected to lose, and they go in there, they do the job that they're supposed to do, and then they become the big dog. So this has happened many times before in boxing, and this is my moment. I feel like this is my destiny. I believe I'm supposed to win. I feel that in my heart, and I just got to go out there and execute the game plan.
When you talk about game plans, how much do you think it's going to have to deal with adjusting in the middle of the fight and trying to make changes? Because Canelo seems to do that. You've done that as well. So it seems like this might be a man's game on Saturday night.
Well, he can't think as good as I can think. I know that. So, I mean, in all big fights, it comes down to adjustments, and not just this one. So I'm sure that'll play a part.
Caleb, he's obviously gotten the benefit of the doubt on the scorecards in several of his fights here in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
How much of a concern is that for you going to the cards again?
No concern. I can't put my energy and, I can't put anything into that. That's out of my reach. That's out of my control, and I can't focus on that. As I've said before, the only thing I focused on is my team and my game plan, and I just got to believe that, the right people have been put in place to make the right call. So anything outside of that, I'm not thinking about it.
Richie, for you as a father, to be on the cusp of this opportunity, what does it mean to you, knowing where you guys started, being here on the stage?
Well, I mean, it's a very big moment. It's very exciting. It's what we've worked for, just since he was just a little boy. We've been working hard for this, and we deserve it. We've done what we needed to do to get in this position, and this is a very important fight. Every fight is important. And if you don't think that every fight is important, then just lose one. And, if any of the fights that we've had up to this point, if we would have lost any of those fights, we wouldn't be sitting here, So they're all important. You have to treat them all the same and put everything you got into, your camp and your preparation.
We really didn't have a lot of testing for that fight. We tested before the fight and right after, but so it's hard to say. But that's why you should avoid doing things like that, because no matter what you've done in the sport, once you test positive, there's always going to be a question mark beside all your accomplishments and all your fights. And so,
Does it piss you off though? I mean, because who knows what happened?
I mean, there's nothing for me to be mad about. I whooped his ass and took his belt, so it's like it ain't nothing for me to be mad about.
Caleb, your thoughts about this week and the
Say what?
meanings? Your thoughts about this week and the meanings of the result of this fight?
My thoughts on this week, a big week, history in the making. First undisputed super middleweight of all time coming soon, and I'm relaxed, I'm focused, I'm feeling good, weight's good, everything's on point, and just looking, for the belt ring really.
Do you feel any pressure because of the fans with Canelo?
I mean, no. I've been in rough waters before. I'm sure it'll be the roughest come Saturday night, but some people perform better when they're being booed and there's a big crowd and there's, people wanting you to lose, and then some people are gym fighters. But I think we can all agree I'm not a gym fighter. When it was time for me to step up and fight Porky in Texas, or when I fought Jose Uzcategui in California, he had a bunch of fans. And, I like people rooting against me. I feel like that puts me in the best position to bring the best out of me.
What is the toughest thing about Canelo Alvarez?
What do I think about him?
The toughest thing about him.
The toughest thing.
The toughest thing about him? I don't know. I don't really think too much about him.
Caleb, when you spoke before, you said that a lot of Canelo's opponents are beat before they get in the ring.
Yeah.
What do you see that says to you that these guys are beat before the fight even happens?
I mean, just the posture, the way that they walk, the way they talk, the way they approach them, and the way they fight. And so.
Do you think that it also has something to do with not having a plan B? There are a lot of guys like Callum Smith come out with a certain fighting style, and Canelo makes adjustments. It seems like they don't adjust either. They don't adjust to his style. Does that have anything to do with it?
I mean, it might have been hard for him to come up with a bunch of game plans when Canelo only gave him a 5-week notice, and that's 4 training weeks. And, a man in his frame, I'm sure it's hard to make 68. So to try and make 68 with half a camp, get sharp, get sparring, I mean, doesn't that tell you right there that what's his mentality going into that fight? Is he really trying to win that fight? Is he putting himself in the best position to win that fight? I'm asking you.
No.
Well, then how could he really believe that he'd win?
What about Billy Joe Saunders? Because, he asked for a smaller ring. There were things that he asked for. Did you see that he was defeated before the fight started?
I mean, I can't speak for everybody, you know what I'm saying? I don't know their mentalities, but overall, it seems like a handful of these guys, at least a handful, they lose before they get in the ring. So.
One other thing is, when you won your first title, you were really emotional when you won that title because of how much it meant to you.
Yeah.
How do you weigh this, becoming undisputed? Because that was your first championship, but this is perhaps bigger than everything else. So how would you gauge that?
I mean, it'll be hard to say the emotions, that'll be, you know what I'm saying? But I'll let you know after the fight. So.
Canelo turned up yesterday in Vegas on his private jet in blue silk pajamas. And we know Marvin Hagler always said once a fighter wakes up in the morning in silk pajamas, it's hard to keep that commitment. Do you think this is happening possibly to Canelo, that all the wealth and fame could be eating away at his discipline and commitment?
I mean, it could be, but all we can do is speculate, right? So I'm not worried about his mentality or his mindset. I don't care what his game plan is. I'm not focused on anything he's doing. I'm focused on me and my team and my game plan and what I'm supposed to do, and that's it.
And this week it is obviously it's the biggest fight of your career. So far, do you feel you're adapting quite easily to the intensity of the tension and just the whole build-up?
I mean, it's just a couple of people asking me a couple questions, really. So I think people turn that into a much bigger thing than it really is. I mean, I've headlined multiple shows before on another network. The camera crews come out for a week. You know, the Pac-Man Thurman press conference in New York, and then the next day in LA, and the grand arrivals here when there was actually fans at grand arrivals. I mean, it's no different than it's the same as that.
Last question from me. Do you think there'll be a face-off?
I hope so.
Was it part of your kind of strategy to rile him up? Was that something deliberate?
I mean, it was normal pre-fight banter. You know, I'm gonna beat you. No, I'm gonna beat you. Fuck you. No, fuck you. And then, you know, seemed like he lost his temper, lost his cool. You know, that'd be a question for him. And I responded the way I was raised to respond and taught to respond. And I mean, I'm a fighter, so whoever puts their hands on me and pushes me, I mean, that's just what it's gonna be. So.
Yeah. What's your kind of sense of how he is around you? Like, is he uncomfortable around you? Like, where do you think his reaction came from?
I don't know. I mean, again, I think some of these guys, he knows that they're coming in just to hand their belt over, and I think he knows that that's not the situation with this fight, and so he's trying to pull me out of my game plan or get me riled up or, you know, whatever the situation may be. But I mean, that's a rookie move. Like, you know, I'm not silly, you know.
Canelo,
Caleb, how surprised were you when he put his hands on you during it? Because there's a lot of money at stake and everything, and that, when he shoved you, how surprising was that to you?
I mean, I wasn't too surprised. I really don't think one way or another. It's boxing. I mean, that's happened. How many times did that happen before us? How many times is that going to happen after us? So, I mean, I think people make such a big deal out of that because it's like a headline and a way for you guys to promote whatever videos y'all are making or, you know, whatever for the fight or whatever. But I mean, it's just like he pushed me, I got one on him, he got one on me, and that was it.
I don't really think too much about any difficult days. You know, those are behind us, and you know, I'm just always looking forward. That's where we're going.
Justin, can you just say a few words about training camp, the corner that you put together for this fight? Of course, you've been there, just to say a few words on that.
Absolutely. Training camp was a great camp. We brought in Thel Torrance, legendary boxing figure, great longtime boxing figure, Thel Torrance. He's actually a mentor of mine, and I asked Thel if he would come on as an advisor to the team, and he agreed to do so, and he's been a great addition in so many ways. I mean, I love Thel. He's like a father figure to me. So, and he's got a lot of wisdom to share. But as far as our training camp, it was another great camp. You know, we're always doing what we can to improve. We're always trying to, you know, realize our mistakes and correct them and add to our game. You know, just this team every day we do everything in our power to put him in the best position to win. We do everything in our power to make him better and better and the best that he can be. So, I mean, it's just another training camp, just like the rest of them.
Justin, without giving away your game plan at all, why will Caleb beat Canelo?
Because he's Caleb Plant. Because he has all of the tools. He has this. He has this. He has the physical ability. Most importantly, he knows it. He believes it. As do the rest of us on the team. We all believe in Caleb, and we don't do this, you know, for no reason. We don't sacrifice and put in the work day in and day out to, you know, hope that we pull it off. We do it because, and we've done it since day one, because we believe that we're going to do it. We know that we're going to win this fight. And at the end of the day, Caleb has all the tools to do it, all the physical tools, but more importantly, the mental in the grit. You know, he's a world champion for a reason, and he's going to be the first undisputed on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're not just up here keeping our fingers crossed, hoping that things turn out how they should. That's not how life works. If you want something in life, then you got to believe it, and you got to know it, and you got to feel it in your heart, and you know, but you got to work for it. And you know, people go through things in life, or they put a certain amount of work in, a certain amount of time, and eventually, you know, you just feel indestructible at whatever you're doing. And that's the point where I'm at in my life, where I feel like I can conquer anything and everything. So
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.